Hello, my name is Jesse Meekum with another episode of the Jesse Meekum Show, and I'm here each week to obsess out loud about spending purposefully, saving aspirationally, and giving joyfully. It all comes down to just giving every dollar a job. But today I want to hit savings. I want to complain to you, whine about savings. We must be careful. When I talk about saving aspirationally, what are we aspiring to? We are aspiring to spend that savings. And if you aren't careful, a person that saves a lot and is just dutifully saving might actually become kind of stingy. Now, you have the spendy person, and we touched on this a couple shows ago. We have the spendy person, we have the stingy person, and we want the spendful person. We want someone that feels the tension between those two things and navigates it, I won't say with ease, but adeptly. So let's dig in just a little bit. If you are spendy, it might mean that you are kind of obsessed with the now. It's just YOLO, right? And YOLO right now. That's the key. When you are being a little too spendy, it perhaps just means that you are weighting the now far more than anything else. And so that might mean that you justify putting something on a card because, hey, we're worried about the right now. It might mean that you don't really accumulate a lot of savings because you spend everything right now. Maybe you don't go into debt, but you spend it all right now. You're really just it's kind of a bit of a tyranny of the now, and you aren't feeling the trade-offs of now and later. And those trade-offs, because they're missing, you don't really even know what you're deciding. You don't know what you're saying no to as far as the future goes. You do end up with debt, usually, tons of stress, and sometimes some missed opportunities because spending in the now means you can't really ever accumulate a big enough pile to do something perhaps a little bit more meaningful. On the flip side, you have people that, and I fall into this camp, and I'll share a story with you in just a second, but I fall into this camp. So the stingy person is not overwhelmed by the now. They are overwhelmed by the future. Everything's about the future. Later, when we do this later, I can't wait for later. I can't wait for tonight. I can't wait for next week. I can't wait for the summer. I can't wait for retirement. Everything is about the future. And what happens is, while they might be building up a big nest egg, a big pile of money, they aren't necessarily focused on the present and some well-being right now being. And I'll tell you one that honestly pains me. Julie and I were poor, engaged, and planning our wedding. We pulled off the entire wedding. Now this is pretty, massive inflation in adjusted dollars, but I think this will still land. We pulled off the entire wedding for less than $800. Julie borrowed a dress. Julie borrowed the shoes with that dress. We had the venue, had the reception at a church that was free. It was a bit of a potluck. People brought food. I think I dropped $100 on renting a tux. Invitations, I think, were the most expensive thing that we paid for. And you might notice something missing from my list. And this is where we were stingy. And it was a photographer. We had a friend take photos, and they were nice, but not anywhere near what we would have wanted. And looking back, 20 plus years since then, I wish we would have gone with a photographer. Wish we would have spent good money and done that photographer. Now, it's water under the bridge, right? But that is an example that still hits me where I'm thinking, okay, Jesse, are you too focused on just saving that money, getting a good deal, getting this as cheap as possible, and you're missing out on something that will bless your future for years and years and years? So if you want one from the heart, there it was. Just a spendful person is able to balance this tension between the needs of now, and they are real needs, well-being now in the moment, and also the needs of future you. And being able to say, okay, I want this now, and I also want this later. And you recognize that when you're giving your future self a seat at the table, it's really you just saying, oh, I am talking about the now. It's just the now that hasn't quite happened yet, but it will. And so whether it's squirreling money away for an eventual car repair or an eventual Caribbean vacation, the idea is the same. That is an eventual now, and I'll be ready for it. Then, if you could imagine future you also telling present you, hey, but what do you need right now? What do you even want right now? Is there any way that we could make your now in the present a little more enjoyable, a little more spendful? And someone that's really living spendfully, that's how they're eliminating that second guessing, is they're having that dialogue between the now version of themselves and the future version of themselves. And they're able to feel the trade-offs between the two and get clarity and say, okay, yes, I want this now, or I want this later, with certainty. Now, of course, we know our fifth question tells us, is there anything you want to change? So we're making these decisions, we're making a plan, and then we're also making sure that we walk through all 5 questions where that fifth question is saying, is there anything, given new information, that you'd like to change? But you do your best. You do your best to seek that clarity and find the balance between the tension of saving for something unknown in the future. Remember, all savings will eventually be spent if you're doing it right. Or the tension of, you need this right now. Now, in YNAB, the app, and you can try it for free, ynab.com/Jesse, it does a really great job of just kind of laying out present and future, and then letting you literally move money between these 2 tenses of spending and figure out exactly what you want. And you kind of fiddle with it, figure it out, wait till you feel settled, fiddle until you're settled. I like that. And go from there. You now have a plan, and you just work your plan. After all, at the end of the day, you are, and your future self wants you to do this also, just giving every dollar a job.